Face Value, in collaboration with African Media Association, Migrants Commission, and 103 Malta's Heart.
Hi, I'm Elena.
And I am Rachel.
And we welcome you to another episode of Face Value, where we explore the relationships of people from different nationalities living here in Malta.
Today we have in the studio Dursa and Paul. Both of them share an interest in equality and they work on the NGO called Spark 15. Guys, welcome to the studio.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome both. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and how you got to know each other and how did that work come together into creating Spark 15? We'll start with you, Paul.
Well, it was quite a few years ago, 2016 or 16, I think. I was sort of just helping out with an NGO called Organisation for Friendship in Diversity. It's since closed, And at that stage, they had put me in contact through JRS to help Dursa with his English.
Okay.
So we sort of like met once a week.
This is a one-on-one coaching?
One-on-one, yes.
Okay.
It was a good system because that way we could both work around our own timetables. And slowly, sort of, we worked through that. Spark came along and we just have been working together ever since.
So, when you say slowly, how long was this teacher or tutor-student relationship before it developed into?
Nearly 9 years.
9 years. So, he said it as if it was just 9 years. That's a long time.
8.5. So it's like, It's,
So you mean 8 and you had this tutor-student relationship before you started Spark 15 or?
No, yeah, kind of different. I am Dursa and when I joined the college, the challenge was a bit, different because obviously my English is kind of low. Okay. And I went to the JRS and I asked for the support and then they said, okay, we will get back to you. And then about a few weeks later and they say, okay, we find someone who can help you. But basically like at the time, Paul is working full time and also I go full time and I do work like part time in the evening. The idea is just Paul come alongside to help me with my English. And like we have about 1.5 hours every week. Just practice English together. And then the Spark came alongside with other people like me who going to college at the time. So then, once Spark started, I think Paul joined to do his dissertation for your research.
Yes.
So then he did his research with us and then join, things just going on because we do like weekly meet and, just.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. So how did the organization come about? Like what was the need that brought, and also how many people were you? Because it's a refugee-led organization, right?
Spark, yes, one of the unique. That's actually one. It's like make Spark 15 is that's something that make unique. It's a migrant and refugee-led organization, which just started by migrant community basically. And the idea just came along when we have pretty much a lot of challenge around us at the school, in the communities. It's like we ran for about 2 years, just form a group. From 2015 till 2017.
As a sort of support group.
Supporting each other.
Like a group of sort of younger adults.
One of the things I think
who met all the time together just to meet and discuss and chat. And
what age range are we talking about?
So again?
What age range are we talking about?
Age?
Yes.
Age, I think must like starting from 16, up to 30. There is
not
people
even at that stage.
Like not. Yes, but for the people who like only one guy maybe above 30. I don't know, but mostly like just in between that age.
All refugees.
Yes.
And people with difficulty in speaking English.
Yeah, those
varying levels. Yes.
Interesting. It's like so you were also from different cultural backgrounds.
One of the things inspired us is because we had a youth global consultation in Gozo. When like a lot of people came together, we went with the UNHCR, and then when we
it was the year of youth consultations for the UNHCR.
Yeah.
Youth consultations, what is that?
It was like a global thing of the UNHCR to consult the youth. I think any youth
Okay.
related to their issues, challenges, and the UNHCR Malta had, through Integra Foundation and this NGO I spoke about, the OFD, organized a group to get together,
Okay.
to see their challenges and sort of.
So Spark 15 was already a group then? When
No.
We were like kind of just going and
group of
participating any activities,
As a group?
Yeah. Sometimes even individually. Before that, basically, when like GRS or UNHCR and Integra have kind of different activity, we just join, and few people, one person, like that's basically. But I think one of like formed us when we went down to Gozo, and a lot of people involved, and then the idea came together why we don't become some sort of group. Especially the people who go into college, we meet each other, or every break or every day going to school, meeting on the bus and etc. Just like because we spend quite a lot of time in the college, and that's the idea. Okay,
we could do something.
the challenge that we had in the college as well, getting. Having limited access to your information, getting rejected for the stipend, and then also like when you go to the social benefit.
So you saw a need.
Yeah,
and
for
a
sure.
gap.
Yep, yeah.
I think even just for themselves, if nothing else, the need sort of
Community.
yes, to be part of a group with the same challenges and issues.
And what was your involvement at that stage? You were teaching Dursa English. And so how did you...
I think
At that stage,
you came to Singapore
I was
for a
doing-
different interview. I think you did a lot of interview with like us for your
because I was doing my thesis on. I decided to do my thesis on the group. I had sort of informally met the group before with one of
you were studying
one
what
of the I was doing just sustainability and
Okay.
environmental management.
Oh, wow. So what is the relationship?
Okay. Interesting.
Well, there is migration in geography, so so from that aspect, I could sort of do this, although it's quite a social sort of.
Okay, so like sustainability of people on the move, in a sense.
Yes, yes, and then I took it from the aspect once they're in the country. What are the challenges they face, and how does working in a group, being with similar people help? And how do also having other mentors around, because there were a lot of people who were helping this group.
Okay.
People who are volunteers like you?
Not in the group,
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
outside the group. So we had Integra Foundation, editors, UNHCR.
Okay, so people who are not familiar with that are all NGOs that are working in the field of migration. That
Yes,
were assisting
exactly.
in that
So they would
sense.
come, they would talk to them, they would.
So it's not
give
just
them
about the
instruction.
language.
And it's not only about language for sure. It's like
Any challenges?
Since we face quite few different places, like when come to and in the communities, the challenge we have in the college, in the school industry, when like the challenge that came, and there go documentation, for example, when we get rejected, applying for the college, for example, you don't get accepted straight away. So you have to go back, ask for, social worker or NGOs, or like so many things involved. And so therefore we go to this expertise for the help, like NGOs, like all the NGOs is there, legally or maybe social worker profession, that's everyone have a little support. That's why we know way before Spark begin, because we go to, all the migration when it comes to, they have support from different NGOs basically. So that's how we get to know each other. But once we form each other, especially the people who are in the college, we gather just information. Listen, I know this one. Do you know about it? I don't know about it. Can you tell me about? So this some sort of information bring us together. Obviously, getting rejected from the from the local student as well sometimes. sometimes, and then we just formed being group as a foreign student, as a migrant student.
And you had mentioned college. So what were you studying at the time?
MCAS.
What were you studying?
I was in science.
Okay.
Yeah, applied science for dual minors.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
interesting
for 2 years to be there, but and there's a people who different field. There's a business and engineering, construction building, and also community like beauty stuff. There is a people who like we about 11 students at that time. Yeah.
Okay, so it's it's interesting because what I understand, I have done volunteering also in the field of migration since I was here, and it is generally known there is quite a tight network of the NGOs that are based here and the institutions. So it is generally known that maybe one organization can help more for this thing or that thing, and so it really sounds like you made a network around something that was already existing as a support. But I'm curious to know, what did you feel was missing in that sense that then you managed to find through Spark 15? Because you were mentioning, for example, information provision, but also I imagine creating a community between individual members who are going through the same thing together also maybe gives a sort of human aspect, a more familiar aspect that big organizations maybe wouldn't be able to give.
I think for me, I'm seeing myself when I go to down to, for example, help the people who live in the center. I imagine myself, I've been there, I've been in that situation, and then coming from that situation, you imagine being with living for a few months with 300 people in one room. You share the same situation, you share the same every environment, and then when you come out, at least you have a kind of capability of they keep pushing things, but not everyone have the same. But then of course having provided information with the same language or with the own language, for example, it will be more value, for those.
And the reach, of course. The reach, you could reach more people because
for sure, because that's the thing. That's the thing allow us to understand. If I don't speak English, I speak Arabic, and I speak different language. And someone who speak different foreign language, for example, if I don't speak, someone speak French, Arabic, English. That's some sort of value in every life. Coming together. Beyond us, why we don't help outside, out of the group. That's how the energy is spread around.
I get
we build it, the kind of trust in the communities as well.
Yeah, of course. I know the importance of language in integration, and I think in our previous episode we had spoken about the importance of language and how it helps people to build relationship and also ensure trust. But I was curious, what was your motivation? Why did you decide to volunteer to teach English?
I had volunteered the summer before. I had some free time.
Okay.
And I had volunteered to go to the Open Center to teach English there.
In fact, the Open Center, so why?
But it didn't work. I couldn't work. They didn't work well for me because...
Can we explain what open centers are? Because I think we're all more or less in the same field, so we understand this.
Thoughtful.
But it is, maybe important to explain what's the difference in these centers. So when you were volunteering in an open center, what were you confronted with? Who lives in the open centers?
Dursa, I think you'd be...
open center is for example, Malta mostly.
Okay.
Where basically the people move there after detention, because basically the detention, not everyone
When you say
can.
people, who are these people?
Migrant people. Okay. And the people who came with the boat, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
So the system it works when you came first with the boat to Malta, they put you in detention. After detention can be up to a year or year and a half, depending on your case. Then you move to the center, which is open, which is the same thing as the system as a detention, but it's open. Now it's you can go in and out, because the detention, you don't have that.
When you say go in and out, you can go into the streets.
You can go and work.
You can go out to work, you can go out to a school, you can go out to, explore.
You have 6 months, no then?
Yeah, about 60 months.
So it's like a shelter, basically.
Not really shelter.
Because it is a closed space.
It's a closed space.
It was what you were mentioning before. So sometimes it can get to up to 300 people that are living in the same space, right?
For example, when I moved to Malta, I spent about 1 month, and we spent about literally on top of each other about 21 people
How old were you?
I was like 19,
Okay.
What year was this?
I think 2013 and 2014, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, end of
And
2014.
I'm curious though, because I haven't seen for volunteering in open centers. Maybe that is not something that they do now. I'm not sure.
Do they still do it?
I think now kind of closed down.
Yeah,
a lot
because
of
then
people-
also COVID changed a lot the circumstances.
COVID changed,
I
but of
believe.
course also they moved to Marsa, to Halfar
Yeah.
now, which is a bit
Yeah.
worse. But I think they want to do something, or they have a plan to do something in Marsa. That's why they. But I think yes, there is a few people, an exception. There's people living there, but I think they're doing something else there.
Yeah, I'm interested. How was that experience for you? I mean, you went to volunteer and you said, okay, I have experience in this because you're a teacher as well, right? I mean, that's what you were doing.
Well, they were sort of OFD at the time. This NGO was organizing English language lessons at Alfar.
Okay.
So I went up with a group, but it was quite disorganized because obviously you're given a time, say 5 o'clock. Who comes to the lesson will just turn up. So the next time you go, they
no
might not be the
structure,
same
basically.
person. There's absolutely no structure. I just felt it was sort of like I was
Waste of time.
wasting my time.
Yeah.
It was a journey to get there, the whole afternoon each time. So I sort of pulled back slightly. And then, so that is sort of,
That was closed for you, that chapter.
yes. And then, I don't know, say, because it's quite some time ago, a few months later, almost simultaneously, I think through JRS, someone asked me,
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
was JRS for
me?
you?
Yeah.
Yes, through
got
JRS,
through JRS, for
which
sure.
is Jesuit Refugee Services.
Yes.
So that, and then at the same time, more or less, I started going to these meetings. It wasn't even real. It was Spark, but it was really just a group of, and I went to one or two, and then I decided I could do my thesis on the group. So I remained with them as a mentor, being so much older than them.
But then I'm curious, like, how was it for you teaching somebody who doesn't understand English and wants to learn English? How was the experience for you as a tutor at that time?
Not that easy.
For sure. Like I can imagine, I, for example, attending Paul teaching me like English because, sometimes we like go as a getting together, for example, like as this all the group getting together, a weekly meeting and sharing the challenge and sharing experience and just laughing, eating, drinking together, which is like kind of sense of like building ourselves, connecting to each other. Paul attending, and then someone as Alba and Maria used to come sometimes when they have time, obviously. Like having different kind of sort of different culture and the background is kind of really challenge. And that's really not because maybe as a rejection of something, it's just because if you are giving your heart, like 100% doing your best, it's like not really easy that bringing forward yourself to someone like strange, whatever. And then like slowly things is getting better, get to know more and then, feeling. And then, that's how actually build things up slowly.
That is in fact how Spark at that stage. It was just a group of
Young
I wouldn't say
people.
kids, but they were older. You know what? And yes, so the sort of like when you're making new friends, getting together, you slowly talk. It was
Like a
at that
social
stage.
group.
It was just a case of meeting, talking.
This is
As he was saying, Alba, Maria, they they're very much in the refugee sort
Okay,
of
we'll hold
NGO.
that thought right there. We'll have to take a short break now, and we'll be back on 103 Motorsat to continue this discussion with Paul and Dursa. Stay with us.
Face Value, in collaboration with African Media Association, Migrants Commission, and 103 Malta's Heart.
And we're welcoming back to Face Value. I'm with Rachel, and today we're joined by Paul and Dursa, and we're talking about their interest in migration and also the origins of their NGO, Spark 15. So we had left off where we were talking about the different experiences that you had, Paul, with volunteering and the difference between an open center and a more one-on-one experience, and how that also had an effect on you, because with time, Dursa, you had the opportunity to meet someone in a more private context, and then this sort of network slowly started to be. But it was interesting because you had mentioned the notion of mentorship. And I was wondering, Paul, how did that affect the relationship that you two had, especially given that afterwards it evolved into this relationship, this work relationship? What was your experience of mentorship exactly?
I mean, mentorship is sort of like the word I suppose I should use, but I mean, it wasn't so much with individuals. It was more as with a group. I used to like encourage them to meet more, or and then slowly, as they strengthened, they were more in a position to be able to start first taking part in activities and then actually moving on to organizing the activities. It was
So you were like guiding them.
a learning process. I wouldn't say I was guiding them. We had a lot of help. As I was saying, Alba was with OFD, Maria Pisani with Integra. I mean, it was indispensable, both of them. They'd come in and give talks and.
Yeah, I think, quite pretty much we was like kind of going to Integra as well, because Integra, they provide free English classes as well at that time. And so based on that, like meeting each other on a weekly basis, and, we were there is a period of time where we're just collecting the challenge, where what is actually we are facing.
But who was Paul to you?
It's not really like just because informal group and like me and Mo and Huri, and there's this bunch of people and just coming together.
Yes,
but then we just
that.
we open up more these ideas, and like we want to work on this because this is the challenge just for ourselves at the time, to be honest. And then I think like we can do actually beyond us, beyond just this community. We can, group, we can actually reach the communities. They were actually focused on, the challenge of integration and the education, and also like information, for example, which related to document. And when you you do interview, you get rejected, what to do, how to do, etc. So we just we aimed and we strategized these issues. So like, we can focus on this one. Actually, we can develop. That's the ideas.
I think, as with us, probably at the beginning, it was teacher-student relationship.
Exactly. I'm really. I wanted to know what is. So, if I ask you, Dursa, who is Paul to you right now?
Sorry.
So, who is
You're
Paul
talking about
to
a long period here.
So, who is Paul
at the
to you?
beginning, I just sat down with him literally once a week, and we
That was
went
then,
through.
but now.
So then was student teacher.
Okay.
But since then, those lessons are finished a long time ago.
Yes.
And then we've both been. Spark has become much busier since then, so we interact. Maybe not every day, but.
For sure.
Exactly. But I want to hear from Dursa, because these are the type of relationship that this program tends to highlight. You started as a tutor-teacher relationship, but now it has developed in over 7-8 years now. So who is Paul to you, Dursa?
I see Paul first as like my teacher, for example. I just meet him, Paul, and every week I'm looking forward, because kind of just one hour and a half, which is pretty much value for me.
So you were looking forward. It was good.
For this every week lesson. And then this developed Spark come alongside Paul, remaining there, keeping supporting us, motivating us, just meeting. But seeing Paul as a friend, as a mentor, and then as a work. So for me, it's a great person, Paul, like as you know, personally, because we developed this, you know, and the interaction we have personally and professionally as well. You know, we share everything and we have interaction every day, most of the time. I'm a founder. He's, you know, I'm like as a position, I'm a president. He's my secretary. Like, you know, I mean, like I'm more than like as a family. I'm seeing it. You know, it's because we up in every steps we go together. So like that's how I see personally. Yeah.
Yes. And Paul, so how would you describe Dursa?
I think very much similar. I mean, as I said, we started, but I mean now at this stage, is a friend. You know, I mean, we work together. We have to discuss obviously a lot of these the usual daily issues that we come up with as an NGO. But more than that, yes, I think at this stage, you know, it goes beyond the work relationship. It's a strong friendship that has built up slowly over the years. That, you know, I can rely on him. I trust him implicitly. I can, you know, speak my mind, no problem, as one would with a friend.
Yeah,
A very good friend,
the
not just a
component
friend.
of trust is always something that keeps the prevailing,
this
especially
program.
I would imagine even more so in a relationship like this that evolved in the way that it did, because also the examples that you were saying, Paul, with volunteering, for instance, something as simple as I have this time that I can dedicate to, quote unquote, help someone, and I provide the service. But it's done in an environment and in a context in which it's not really conducive for me to really make, I don't know, maybe this is from the perspective from someone who volunteers, but maybe it's from, quote unquote, my perspective of like wanting to make a change and wanting to help and wanting to impact, and then realizing that sometimes when the structures are not in place, the thing cannot happen properly and efficiently.
Totally.
You can have all the good intentions in the world, but if then it's not structured in a way that will actually bring out the best in people, then that is something set to fail. And then see how that evolved in seeing another system and another structure, which for you was the one-on-one, which worked. But I'm curious, I would imagine that with maybe your experience and the whole network of people that you had helping you, maybe you saw some times you said, you know, they needed their time to understand what their challenges were and how to get to what place. I'm imagining you would have seen some times where you would have done something different than they would have done, no?
I mean,
where like, does it get to a point where you feel like you need to stop yourself or inform them or let them
all the time.
be? I can imagine.
You have to understand that there are a whole load of different aspects. I mean, first of all, I'm much older, so there's an age difference.
Yes.
So, you know, younger people are going to think differently to older
for
people.
sure.
So I have that to
contending.
take into account, you know. And then, yes, there are cultural differences. I mean, we're different nationalities. So it's, you know, each one has their own culture. And I think also the refugee aspect. I'm a Maltese. I'm settled here. You know, it's so to say easier for me.
Yes.
They come with their own set of issues, which I have to be sensitive to. I mean, both ways. Everyone has to be sensitive to each other. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But from my position, I feel, you know, I must take into account. So that's why I think also between us, I think we've overcome most of that.
Yeah. Dursa, did you perceive that, given that you were collaborating with so many other organizations as well? Did you feel that maybe at times there would be a push into a direction that you thought, no, we feel it differently, or we would like to experience it in another way?
I think for sure, yeah. There is a time, and you know, but then you have to go up to the time, like when realize what actually you're doing, and you know, because then understanding who you are, and then like, for example, okay, you know, the different aspect that you have as an individual, and then plus having this a lot of traumatized and difficulties, and you know, the challenge you've gone through, it's really kind of holding you back. You know, there is a time, you need really a lot of time to cover it and then come over it. And then of course you need someone who have a patience to understand that you are in a position of recovering or understanding whether you are engaging yourself, taking forward to pretty much want to build up kind of friendship, or you just say, okay, you hold yourself back and then I just stay as am I. So it's that is something is always in a lot of people have, but then having different activities, the involvement and the meeting, the place you've been, the people who you meet, kind of a lot of thing get together much more. Sometimes also life. I pretty much saw I didn't really say okay, I want to just stay in comfort zone and doing and then I say I want to put more forward and I want to study it and I want to try something different. That's actually take me way forward or understanding pretty much different culture, different people, and then of course involving in different activities that help me to pursuing aspect of every individual who I meet, whether older, whether younger, whether can be my age. So that's kind of there is a time, of course, but you have to keep adjusting, keep moving, and then keep learning, of course, keep respecting.
Talking about meeting different people, is it the same set of friends or a group of people who started the Spark 15? Are you still the same set of young people till now?
I think we've grown to different aspects for sure. And there is a people who we still in touch. People pretty much close to my age and, above and a little bit below. But everyone is kind of grown up to different aspects and, different responsibilities. It's pretty much kind of, different for sure.
Different.
Yeah.
So, do you get people who just come from the boat, like people who just got into Malta, say, last year, 2 years ago, join Spark 15, or you have to have lived in Malta for a certain period of time?
No, I think it's a pretty much flexible. The idea is actually
we don't have, because the way you're talking about it, so we have like a membership or something like that.
Nothing like that.
It's not. We have like the organizing group. Which is very flexible, whenever.
So maybe you could just tell us basically what your routine is. Do you have meeting period? How does it work with Spark 15?
I mean, we have like the board or sort of like organizing group, which is quite flexible and involves sort of it's structured, but at the same time quite easy. You have people who sometimes help more. We're all volunteers. No one's full time, so it depends on what else is going on in your life. And then we have the activities, and so you can come to the activities. You can come to one. You can come.
So
to
what are these activities?
I came to one once. It was a football game.
Yes.
Back in 2019, I feel like it was a I
think you missed a bit after.
COVID.
Yeah,
I can imagine. Especially this kind of aspect, something that is so communal about meeting people in person. You cannot do that online. It's really, really that.
We used to have for a while. We tried holding education and talks online, but I mean, our whole point is to meet people.
Okay.
Yeah.
We hold get-togethers, football, education.
Online football
is important, but the other part is like meeting, getting people together.
Yeah.
Online doesn't work.
That's about every time I hear virtual coffee, I just get chills because I just get the trauma that comes back. Anyways, okay, we will be resuming this conversation in a little while. We'll be right back with Paul and Dursa. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you back on Face Value 103 Malta's Heart.
Face Value, in collaboration with African Media Association, Migrants Commission, and 103 Malta's Heart.
Welcome back. We are still having the conversation with Paul and Dursa, and this is Face Value on 103 Malta's Heart. So, guys, it's been an interesting conversation. Now, let's talk about, we're talking about your activities basically. And like, I was wondering if it's structured, if it's social gatherings, but you have other programs apart from social gatherings? You organize, say, advocacy, personal development, stuff like that?
I don't know if we missed it out, because Spark is kind of, because as an organization, yes, we have like whole structure, which is like board and administration,
yes.
and the people who focusing on different activities.
Yeah,
obviously.
Paul was saying that.
We have the advocacy, people who like attend in a conference advocacies, and whether locally to internationally. And then we have a team who focus on education and supporting. And then the team are focusing on.
So who do you educate? Your group, or you go to the?
No. I mean outside for sure.
Exactly. This is what I want to know.
Hang on. We do like, for example, last year we had our team we have now a consultant provided by UNHCR, Tolga, and he was instructing us how to run an NGO. So we do some internal capacity building, or whatever the word is.
Yes, true.
But no, then education, we focus on sort of a broader.
Okay.
We're going we have, and when we're saying about the education, we have like teams, some volunteering from universities, Dr. Maria, Dr. Daniel, and the team
what do they teach, or what do they?
Not really, they just coordinate us. It's like access into the university, communicating with the application for the administration, putting in when there's a challenge, communicate with the student and the teachers, can be improved or can be, it can be changed stuff. So that's basically, for the last 2 years, we haven't really done pretty much. We just, just very slow down with the physical activity, but we getting back on track now. Last year, we have 40 students at full-time at MCAS. We supported them. But then this year also planning to at least few students, maybe we finger crossing to few students can join to university.
So how do you provide this support? What is this support?
So we have a volunteer team, which is a teachers, coordinator, and of course the space we use university.
So they help with the application process.
Not only application, but because IELTS need the old process. For example, you have to do English training.
Okay.
And then
to get into university, you need the IELTS.
Okay. So you provide this support where you have to, you get your English done so that to enable you get into the university.
Yeah.
So Spark 15 provide English lessons.
Free English lesson, financially for the exams, we support them as well.
It was a program that Dr. Juliana
and Dr. Juliana, of course, yeah.
Fennick had
That's great.
set up for
Also, those exams are so expensive.
And it has stopped.
With COVID, it really ran into the ground, and now we still haven't we're hoping to sort of start it up again. But
sure, you should do that.
It's.
No, I think we're coming back. We're coming back soon. We're on the track, so obviously,
Good. We're looking
Have
forward
things
to it.
with your organization evolved differently since COVID-19, and not just the general? Obviously, things were not the same. We had to find alternative methods, but maybe were there things that during the time that you had to adapt during COVID that you've incorporated now, or things that you've stopped since then?
We're more organized.
Yeah,
the communication must have been so complicated also, to manage an organization remotely.
No, nothing happened.
Nothing happened at all.
We couldn't meet.
Yeah.
And when we talk about, we're saying we organize get-togethers, football.
Everything
was on
until
hold.
last year they opened up. That's nothing could happen.
There's only I think in a weekly or every 2 weeks that we have just the motivation speaking and sharing different stories, talking about challenge and culture stuff.
Maybe so for people who are from part of
just pretty much open to the community.
We used to have them online.
That's kind of it happened during COVID. That's only.
How do you promote these activities?
We just shared on our Facebook page, and then sometimes we use Google Meet, sometimes we use Zoom, everyone turn up and then just
Yeah.
And we
Why would you say you're more organized now, though? Like, what do you think
we have a better
changed?
structure.
I think we have a better structure. We have
got us
consultants
in order.
and we pushing to more. I mean, of course, we learning every single day,
Yeah.
and then having mentor, it help us to function better, of course.
And Spark has been I think a learning curve for all of us. You know how to do these sort of things. I mean, we didn't
Yes.
come on board really knowing.
And because the idea of the Spark, pretty much when in the back, we just bringing people together from different aspects, from different culture.
But then there has to be structure because Paul is big on structure. Otherwise, it will be out.
Is the idea, for example, I remember myself when I'm in detention or I'm in the camp, nothing to do. There is a lot of depression, there is a lot of loneliness, there is a lot of hustle. So the idea actually maybe bringing in a weekly getting together or for the festival or football training or this thing is bring us more people when they just have fun for 2 or 3 hours, forget everything.
That seems like a really great example of also the support, because then there's always the conversation that is around financial support and language support. Everything is needed, of course, like that. Those are the basics, but then you're missing out on all the human component of someone that, as you say, you're spending all your time and you want to be of use and of service, but you can't really contribute anything. So to have a space at least to mentally check out a little bit.
I think, that aspect of making friends, I think there's a lot of loneliness.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's the idea where I don't know if you have come across the view. Go down to Halfar, you see the people just staying on the roundabout doing nothing for how many hours, and that's kind of sad. I've been there.
Yeah.
I have one of them.
Yeah.
It just does pretty much sad for me. We could do more than that.
Talking about people sitting just watching, and you've been there. Would you do this again?
Repeat again, sorry.
So would you do this again? Because sometimes I wonder. I know
do that again. What do you mean?
I know that there
The
are
journey to Malta.
different circumstances that lead people to take that route to come to Malta. There are crises but would you want to do that journey again?
Well, never know. I mean, people are still doing, for example, leaving Malta illegally, going to...
Yes, but you are now part of Spark 15, and one of the things you do is to come together, do some of this pep talk, And so I would see you as someone that the community look onto you like you are like a model. Like some years back, you came here and see who you are now. You are not the same person some years back. So I'm just wondering, we have had guests who says that they do music and they use their music to prepare language, message like, don't come through the sea. Europe is not, if you come through that route, it is not what imagine exactly. So I would like to know your perspective about
I think, the idea of me, doing...
maybe we should start from what was the circumstance that led to you coming to Malta?
First of all, sometimes people doesn't have choice. Crossing Mediterranean, when I'm seeing the people die in front of me, and I'm taking the same road because I don't have a choice. This is due to the circumstances that you have from your countries, the environment, and the pressure or maybe misinformation that you get from Western. The reality, for example, and when it comes to sometimes people get this really misinformation when say, okay, the people live in Europe, they live in they just grab money from tree, which is, but then get influenced, this misunderstanding. But then of course the people who seeking for the better, for the safe, because they don't have, a basic freedom of living their own country. They were the choice only living, and then getting abused, getting into the human traffic, getting losing families. It's not a choice. It's hard, kind of imagine you are just crossing the desert, someone died, you just dig with your hand and bear someone, moving on. It's at some point I just want to really inspire other people to look around not just leaving the country without having any information. Rather you can create this. Maybe you can negotiate, finding a better way to build yourself, or one step at a time. Getting more information.
So you make the most out of the situation.
For sure, yeah. Because like I have no idea what Malta is until I came to. After I cross international Mediterranean, for example, I have no idea. I swear. So
I guess
it's just my idea. I said, okay, I don't have choice. I want to cross to Europe, and maybe cross is a better place where I can build my future. That can be, but there's a lot of people who know this information, but they still crossing. Maybe they seek for the better.
So would you say that you have a better future now? Tell us your journey. So you've been to MCAST, and now what do you do?
I involved pretty much now. I do finance in a part-time, and I have my own small business, and I do, of course, more than for my full-time. I do Spark, because Spark is just something that I enjoy doing. It's not just because I do because I love, and it's not because I have a responsibility.
Give back, yeah.
Because that's for me. I'm giving back with what I can, because sometimes we think changing life is being rich or being professor.
No.
It's changing life or helping someone, just giving what you can. For example, sometimes people going through different challenges, and they just if you come across someone who and going through under pressure, and he just needs someone to speak to, and that's releasing pressure, and someone who maybe just need the respect and need a time, for example.
Having those spaces.
For
in
sure,
general,
yeah.
physical, mental
it's
space
just
when you're
because
together.
life is circle. I need you, you need me, and
That brings me to Paul, actually. And with this experience, what do you think about this migrants generally? Like, what has this experience with these young people, what has it opened you to? What do you think about your situation? Like you mentioned in our earlier conversation that you are Maltese. There is the age difference and everything. But do you think that there are some privileges that we take for granted as locals? Considering the situation that brought them here, your experience meeting different young people.
Well, I mean, yes, there is. I can say I'm so to say privileged, because yes, I've been brought up here, and it was. I didn't go through
this experience,
the challenges Dursa went through to get here. I can't even speak about them, because I'll never understand them. They're so different to, even though I've heard from different
Exactly.
and different stories and everything. I'll never be able to even imagine the difficulty. I think people have to listen more and be more aware and sensitive before they pass comments. I see a lot of these comments on Facebook, even when talking with different people. We all have a right to a decent life.
So
I find it very difficult that you're locked up in a country.
Would you think it's because of their lack of information that make people tend to perceive migrants the way they do, negatively?
Yes, I do think people are probably they don't know, so they
don't know.
They get worried.
They don't know. They get worried. Yes, they don't know.
Very often when they do listen, learn a bit, they come round.
Yeah, as I always like saying, it's a lack of exposure. It's a lack of exposure.
It is, and I mean, so that's what we always help with, although very often we don't reach out or manage to reach out to the people who really, but when we have a get together, we sort of say anyone can come. But generally it's people like that.
Yeah, it always ends up being people of the same network.
Yes.
Dursa, you want to tell us about an activity you have coming quickly as we round up? Because Paul was saying that you try to reach out when during your activities, people should come. So tell us about, maybe you have an upcoming event, activity
we don't have
for
a
the
date.
I think one of the big events we're looking forward is a Refugee Day.
Okay.
And that's coming on, I think somewhere around 19 or 18 or 17 June. It's like, okay, the week Refugee Day.
We'll keep you updated.
Yeah, but I mean, that around there. So it's a week Refugee Day is one of the big events coming up. But other activities, of course.
What are the lined up activities you usually have?
I mean, we do like quite at least try to do at least few activities like football festival. And then, of course, maybe we have friendly match in quite different space and different
Migrants, locals,
it's open
every young person.
every life.
Our hope this year is to get the last year we were doing weekly football to get it going again, weekly football, because that gets, a whole group together, all playing, meeting, as we were saying, making friends, just having fun. We just need to get the funding for that.
If any donors are listening.
But otherwise, if you're interested in joining our events, they're always on Facebook.
Of course,
Can't wait to see it. So people can find you on Facebook, on original website, Spark 15, all things.
I mean, we're also like any volunteers can just in touch with us.
It's been an interesting conversation with Dursa and Paul.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
There you have it. They are open to your friendship. They are open to your partnership.
She wants full promoter mode now.
So come join the community. They are stretching their hands to you. Please take the hand of friendship. It's been Face Value on 103 Malta Heart. My name is Rachel.
I'm Elena.
We've been speaking to Dursa and Paul. Join us next time. Please follow us on all our social media platforms.
We'll be posting episodes on YouTube and Spotify, and we will see you again with another episode next week. See you soon. Bye.
Face Value, in collaboration with African Media Association, Migrants Commission, and 103 Malta's Heart.